Hey guys, my name's Plev, and in this DCS C-130J tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys the basics of weight and balance and CARP configuration prior to airdrop. CARP stands for C-A-R-P, Computer Automated Release Point. Let's come back to the rear of the aircraft. Let's take a look at the cargo menu with left Control C. Ensure that the rollers are on for CARP, and also ensure that the lights are as you so desire. We currently have 4 crates loaded and assigned to CARP 1. In my previous video, I said that this was the designated number assigned to the crate. However, it is actually the number of parachutes assigned to the crate. Along the right will be the information about the weight of each crate. In order to safely tune our computers on board, hit the mission button, and then hit P-pause hold, and then hit execute. Your aircraft will remain in a holding pattern after you do so. Open the MC index page. Then press weight and balance. Clicking the LSK next to arm/mom will toggle between the two. They're both ways of calculating the same reference point. Leave it set to arm. Now click on Payload. This is where we can enter load, which is our weight/arm for each crate. Arm refers to the side number in the cargo menu, which can also be found in the kneeboard, referencing the point aft of the reference point for cargo in the aircraft. Load and arm values can be found as weight and ARM in the kneeboard as well. Begin by entering the weight, which is 882. Then, if it's an airdrop, double tap /. Now enter the ARM value, in this case 1005. Click the first column to insert that column accordingly. The highlighted / indicates that it's an airdrop. We'll do the same for the remaining rows. With all 4 rows entered, we're done with this page. To define when and how our CARP will behave, we can go to the legs page. In this training mission by Baltic Dragon, he's graciously already named our waypoints for us. PI position defines the first point of impact for the first object to land in your drop zone. Length, LETE, defines the length of the drop zone. I've entered 1,095 yards. I've entered a LEPI, or leading edge to point of impact distance of 100 yards. I've entered 6 nautical miles as our slowdown distance, or the amount of distance in nautical miles that we will initiate slowdown. I've entered a turning point distance of 10 nautical miles. That's just the standard, and that is how far before the drop we will initiate our turn onto the run-in heading. For my running course, I've entered 162 true, or the same heading as the runway we're dropping over. Drop zone escape distance is how far you're going to fly before your aircraft turns towards its escape waypoint. The default setting is half a nautical mile. It's a good habit to press execute every time you're done entering all of these data points. This is kind of like saving the parameters. Your first option determines your load if it's personnel, cargo, heavy equipment, or bundles of others. In this case, we'll do CDS, or containerized delivery system. In the fuselage station value, you should enter the farthest back row that you have a crate occupying. Stage allows us to determine whether we're doing a single stage low-level drop or a 2-stage high-altitude drop. This will be a low-level drop. The release system lets us define whether or not we're using a towed release system, like a drogue, or we're doing the cargo release system, or no system at all. For element weight/quantity, I've entered 812 for each individual crate's weight, and then 4 for the quantity of crates. The calibrated airspeed desired for this drop is set to 140. Racetrack defines our aircraft's behavior after the CARP run, and that's going to be either escape, where we proceed to the next waypoint after a certain exit period, L for a left overhead holding pattern, R for a right overhead holding pattern. You can click on Shoot List and click on one of these two options, in our case G12D, to copy it to the scratch pad. Then go back to CARP Init. Then simply click on Shoot, well, the LSK next to Shoot, to assign it as G12D and a quantity of 1 per crate. Let's go to the next page. Don't forget to hit execute before switching pages. On page 3, you could zeroize out wins by pressing 0 and entering it with the LSK next to altitude and winds. That will do just fine for a low-level tactical drop. Ensure that your altitude and QNH or QFE are set correctly. You can acquire your surface temperature from your briefing in most missions. Your altitude temperature should generally be about -2 degrees for every 2,000 feet. Oh, by the way, BAL is only for 2-stage high altitude drops. In accordance with the instructions from the mission, we've set a QNH of 2988, which we could have gotten from the briefing in the mission. We can get our drop zone elevation by holding left alt and clicking on the area. We'll enter a value of 33 feet. Our point of impact elevation matching that is probably just about accurate. We'll enter an obstruction with an elevation of 68 feet for the height of the trees around the airfield. These values are in MSL, not AGL. We'll now set a drop altitude of 1,500 feet MSL with a minimum drop height of 1,000 feet MSL. The blue line is the proposed flight plan that will be activated after we hit execute. If everything is set up correctly, you should see your turn point, your slowdown point, your DZ, DZ escape, and CARP point all on your moving map. To begin flying our flight plan, hit direct intercept, type IP for our initial point, or whatever your initial point is before your drop, and then hit direct to. That should bypass your hold and initiate your continuation of your flight plan. After hitting execute, it should be updated. Your avionics will warn you as you approach the CARP point. Set your desired altitude to 5,000 feet for the initial descent. Using the pitch sync button, we'll enter a 5-degree descent. With a right click, we'll set the auxiliary hydraulic pumps to on. This will allow us to open the ramp. We'll depressurize the cabin. We'll open the ramp and the air deflectors if we have paratroopers on board. We'll set the computer drop switch to auto unless we want to use jump to manually order the drop. Yellow will order the jump master or load master to prepare either way. You can also order the ramp open via the cargo menu. Let's switch computer drop back to manual and do this manually. We'll reach our IP at 5,000 feet, then descend to 1,500 feet. We'll slow down to 180 and turn for the TP. And at the TP, we will slow down to 130 knots, set the flaps to 50%, and go nose high. Before our IP, let's set up for the altitude change. Let's lower our desired altitude to 1,500. Now, if we use pitch sync to go nose down and descend to that altitude, we'll automatically level off in altitude hold mode at that altitude. Let's begin our descent. Coming down now to a 5-degree descent, and we're going to continue on till 1,500 feet. Periodic drop shaft flares on the way in. This can be done with your yoke CMS depress button. Our aircraft will automatically level off at the desired altitude and will initiate the turn. During our turn, let's use the cargo menu to ensure that the ramp is open. And it is. We'll use the reference set to slow down to 180 knots. The aircraft will do this automatically. Your turn point will appear on your HUD as a triangle. Using my heading knob right here, I can adjust the heading bug and use that if I need to make course corrections with the heading autopilot mode. But we're not going to do that just yet. We've got our drop zone marked with green smoke. Let's tell the Loadmaster to prepare with the caution button. As we have passed the turn point, our HUD symbology has changed to indicate the drop zone. Once we hit our slowdown point, we'll drop our speed. Over the drop zone, we can click jump. We've now got a countdown going until it's time to release. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ensure that your load is clear. Once you've shut your ramp, ensure the aux pump is turned back off. Alright guys, that'll about cover it for today. If this video helped you out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Plev, out.